Good afternoon. It is Friday. Now, we're trying to be positive today because, well, it's Friday. And, well, I have things to show you. Now, I was struggling yesterday because my lace didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And I'm pretty sure we made zero progress whatsoever. And well, frankly, it turned into a bit of a show. So, today, I have things, I have stuff, and I have that fly again. So, let me, one pillow. We have a new book. We have a book on Bedfordshire lace. Now, Bedfordshire lace is characterised by this kind of ground. Ignore the picos because we know we don't like those. But it's generally fairly floral, but has this kind of very open, big lattice work in it. Now, one of the things that I am trying to find wherever it is in this book, I'm a little bit surprised. Now, I've got a feeling this is not a fresh book. And the reason I say that, she says desperately trying to find it. Oh, where is it? Let me do this. Where's it gone? Where the hell? Where has it gone? Definitely didn't imagine it. There it is. It came with this. Now this doesn't seem to be a pattern in the book, but obviously it's someone else's beautiful little piece of lace. So I'm not convinced it's a new book, which slightly irksome given the price I had to pay for it, but you know, let's skip past that. Then we have, they often come in beautiful little folders. So this is some of somebody's quote favourite things. Now in here allegedly, and I haven't really opened this too much, is there's a sheep and a rabbit, and this is not, the problem I have is these patterns, this is not the real size pattern. This is not what you know, take a copy of and print out. This is what you're looking at. What you really need is this tiny little scrap up here in the corner, right? Now there is supposed to be something in here which I'm not seeing for looking. Now, so forgive me if I flip through this. Now, there was something I was inspired to do. So there's some ground, so there's many ground stitches. I didn't realise it was supposed to be done like that. That's not how I'd have done it. I'm also not convinced that the actual pattern that I'm after is directly listed in this book, even though I was told it was in this book, so I ordered it. Now it's got lots of pretty pictures. Look, lots of pretty pictures. I don't even think it's got the picture I want in it. There's a beautiful cat, which I thought was rather nice. Landscape, edging, some form of weird thing. I don't know how you do that. So I am not seeing the thing that I was told would be in here. Now, the reason I am slightly cagey about what's in here, once again, I can feel something in here, but I can't find it. There's a bulge in here, and I don't see how there's a bulge. Feels like there's something in pages. But there was supposed to be a bookmark with a cat and paw print. There is not, so I was bad on that one. But I also have a bag. Now in this bag, this doesn't look very exciting. I mean, I'm pulling out a few, so there's a few different colours. So there's a black one, there's a green one, purple one, red one, a lighter kind of blue purple one, a babyish blue one. There's lots of blue kind of colours, kind of browny one, pinky one, a weirdy kind of olivey green one, kind of coral one, not sure what colour that's supposed to be, but it's kind of probably, let's go with cream, and yellow, right? So why am I excited by those? Because these, my friends, are the same size as this. These are coloured versions of this thinner thread, which would mean I can arguably do some coloured-y stuff. Now, obviously, for a net curtain, this may not be the most ideal thing to do, but at the same time, it's not a bad thing. Because one of the things, now let me pull up a picture, funnily enough, from this, right? So back to my thing in here. If I show you a couple of, if I show you a bit of a wafting, so here you go. You can see there's like cherries with leaves. What if I made the cherries red and the leaves green? And that was the border for the curtain. No, I'm not having second thoughts. I'm having byproduct thoughts. So what if, you know, it was, I don't know, make 5 strips in the middle, so it's a strip short or whatever, or a couple of strips short, and then you make a border fret with colours in it. Now, colours in a net curtain, it would be unusual, to be honest. Now, but that is not necessarily wrong. Like everything in life, it's not necessarily wrong. It's just unusual. Now, part of me would love to do a net curtain with a picture on it, as I said, but I can't draw. And, well, that is fundamentally the crux of my issue, is that I can't draw for toffee. So it would have to be something fairly simple. And so if I've got, like I have, the pattern for cherries, cherries could be a thing. Now, having got some more books, obviously I have, in some manner, some other patterns with some other things in it. And, you know, maybe we could use one of them. See, why does this go wrong at the bottom? This goes wrong. It was fine till we got to here at the bottom. So let's undo the bottom, because this is where we left off yesterday, where Liz was having a bit of an existential crisis because some things were not making sense. So this, no, not you, you, potentially. You see, you do look like you should go there, but maybe you're not. But you're not, so you go there, which is fine. You, I do think some of it could be tension, so let's try that again with this. See, that looks better now, even though I swear I've done exactly the same thing. So, lace making occasionally does this. It looks really wrong, so you undo it, you go back and redo exactly what you swear was there in the first place, and, well, it looks right now, so, I guess the important factor is it looks right now, and, let's not dwell on that. So, following yesterday's lovely day at work, I am feeling slightly better today. Not a lot. I should point out, because I didn't get a lot of sleep, because I was doing the whole tuna wasp thing, and then all of this morning, there's been some dodgy practices. Not necessarily dodgy, but, really, that's your best use, that's how you're going to do that, okay. So, as an example, back in the beginning of July, well, for a few months, the team that I work in have been tasked with doing a job, and someone had been doing the job, or so they said. They then left. That's fine, people do that. But once they left, and it was kind of like, oh, we won't need this till like October. Okay, whatever. Put it on the back burner, completely ignore it for a bit. Into June. Oh, we're going to need it in a few weeks now. What? You said October. I've been busy with other things, got other stuff planned, okay. So, okay, you're saying you need it now, right? Okay. Well, we hadn't really planned for this, so, it's a bit of a shock. Okay. Can you, let me have a look. Turned out, a particular person hadn't done quite all the things that I was under the illusion that they thought they said, well, that they had kind of said to me that they'd done. And I'm not going to say I'm hugely shocked by that, because, well, they told me they'd done something, and, well, in fact, they told me they'd done something with me, and, well, it's funny I have no recollection of that event. But, so I'm not entirely shocked by but I'd done all the things, and actually you haven't, because maybe your mind was elsewhere, and you meant to do things, and at the end of the day, maybe you thought you had, but, well, you didn't, and anyway, so I did a load of stuff to it, and ran into an issue, in that something that had to be provisioned by another team hadn't been done, and when I contacted them, the first thing they said was, I've done that. Okay, so I went back, and maybe I'm being stupid, and had another go. No, it definitely has none of that. So I went back and said, no. I had a look at that thing we discussed yesterday, and this is these the errors I'm getting, and this is what I see, and this is what we, was on the list. And, well, I didn't really hear anything. So, other things have gone on, work has been had, the other team have been busy, and, all the rest of it. A couple of days ago, we want the servers next week. What? Okay. I guess. So, well, where are we at with these servers lists? Well, as far as I know, I'm waiting on this. So I go off and check. Yep, still not there, right? So I report back. No, I've still not got this. Sorry, but, can't make it up. Okay, not a problem. Who do I have to chase this? Oh, you need to chase this person. Right, okay. They went off and they chased this person. I've done that, they said. And I'm, literally looking at a server that says no. And so I was kind of like, oh, okay, I'll have another look. Maybe, maybe they'd literally just done it. So, because not wanting to be the person of, calling you a liar and, or whatever. So I went off and checked, and no, definitely not. But they told everyone, yeah, I've done that. So in an email thread, I point out, right, this is what we were asked for, I don't see that. Oh, no, that's not what they're getting. They're getting this. Well, yeah, but the list I've got says I should be looking for this, and, well, I've not got it. Oh, we'll have a meeting about that next week. Okay. More to the point, the person who is likely to be doing the work is out 4 of the 5 days next week. So, well, that's going to be a bit awkward. Anyway, and I said, well, so, you know, but these bits, I haven't been asked for them. I asked you for them on the 2nd of July, dude. You knew about them then. You've chosen not to do it. I've already sent you this information. Okay. So, and just as I was about to kind of log off, oh, hey, you know, so are we going to have a meeting? About what? Well, what, you know, do we, oh, sorry, it was kind of like, do we need to have a meeting? About what? Well, you know, well, no, not really. They need to do their bit, I'll do my bit. I'm not seeing desperate need for a meeting here. And once again, this looks weird. There's something that happens that makes it look weird. And I'm obviously doing something stupid. Because that's right, but you don't just go over the next pin. But you also shouldn't be wrapping round that pin. That's because you are just wrapped around a pin. But then that's not right either. This is the problem we had yesterday, was that it sits funny, and the moment it sits funny, my brain farts, and my brain does not understand, because maybe I just need to kind of ignore the fact that it's seeing things. And once again, I've just done 2, and now they look right because the pin is open, whereas the pin looked closed before. But I don't know how the pin looked closed before, because it kind of can't be closed, because, well, I only do cross twisty and stab a pin in. So there is no thread that should be able to go across the bottom of the pin, but it's when it goes to the next one, it seems to drag across. It's like it goes like this. It's almost like I used the wrong pair, but that's kind of not possible. Let's go back to here. And you see, this is the problem. This comes down and goes across, and this is what makes it look wrong, is that these all hang out, but it's because it's these two, and I've been trying to use these two. I think that's what it is. I'm using the wrong pair occasionally. And it's cocking it up. Like that. See, that still looks slightly wrong. But never mind, let's go with the flow. It's not wrong, it just looks a little odd. But yes, so today was... But you see, my neighbours have said that if I want to put some of my cardboard from my Amazon deliveries and the like in their skip that they've got at the moment, I'm very welcome. Well, of course, I was going to do some of it last night after work, but by 7:30 when I finished, and then I did some streaming, and by the time I'd uploaded that video, and I still haven't remembered to tell everybody, and you know, all of those moments, it was bedtime. You don't really start going outside with, you know, cardboard and mechanical cutters, which, you know, to cut the cardboard up. So I'd have done it now, except by the time I kind of sat down, it was 1:30, and well, we start this at 2. So now it's going to be more like 5 o'clock. And, well, I have a horrible feeling that they did say that there is a chance their skip is being collected today. So I may have missed the boat on that, which would be slightly annoying. But at the same time, if I've missed it, I've missed it, I guess, is the short answer, isn't it? I have to face the fact that, you know, it didn't go my way, and well, now I'm going to have to hire my own skip, perhaps. maybe that's just the best answer overall, is stop trying to blag someone else's skip because they've got one, and just hire your own and fill it full of shit. Because I do swear I have got plenty. The problem is, let's say I order me a skip. Well, I can order me a skip, but I also know that the motivation to do something to fill the skip, even though it costs you money to have the skip, I don't really want to do the thing because tidying is not in my nature, right? And so, you know, I could hire a skip and it would sit there with nothing happening to it, and everyone else would put crap in my skip and not me. And so I almost have to be supervised while I do tidying, because I absolutely have zero interest in tidying. As I say, it is not in my nature, and by not being in my nature, I mean my brain actively refuses to tidy. It's like it's allergic to it. It just kind of clams up, turns to mush, and my body kind of goes, oh, I hurt, I can't possibly do this. Well, actually you can, body. No, I can't. No, it's too much for me. Oh no, I need to sit down for 3 hours and watch a film and have a nap. Body, you moved one piece of paper. No, I know, but it was too much for me. This is kind of the internal monologue that goes along with me tidying. So, as you can imagine, even though I've got a chance to do it for a free space in a skip, and I have plenty of cardboard and bits of foam under the stairs, and arguably, and I do mean this with every respect to my lazy butt, it's really not that big a deal. But it is. And I can't entirely put my finger on why it is, but it is. It is absolutely, to me, a big deal. And this is something that I do have some friends who understand this. I don't think they can fully empathise, but they do see how it affects me. I've got friends who absolutely do see how broken I get trying to tidy. And they don't judge me for it. And it truly is a blessing, because, to be honest, it's a bit like when you watch the people on Hoarders, and there was one that I saw a bit of a snippet of, and you had to climb through a 6-foot pile of stuff to even get in the house. Now, my house is not like that. I do have Mount Crapula over here. And as I said, I've got a pile of cardboard boxes under the stairs and a small pile. I say small, a medium pile, depending on your point of view. Small to me, medium to large maybe to average person, of some empty boxes in the hole. But with a small amount of motivation, that would really not take a lot of effort. And I truly recognise that. But it's still effort that my body does not want to give. And I know how wrong that is. I really, really do. So, it is difficult. Now, let's put some sticks up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's grab you, put you in a stick. So yes, I know how bad it is. I know how lazy it is, and I know how wrong it is, and how technically it really isn't that much effort. And what I can't explain to you is, but it is to me. And as I said, I am really lucky in that I've got friends who truly understand this for me, who There's two coming out there. Two coming. Okay. It's another one of those, the more I think about it, the more it doesn't add up. Let's try to ignore that. So I taste that. No. You've already been. You've got 2 twists on. You have not. So we need to just twist you. Right. I need to add a twist, I think, to all of you. Bugger off, fly. Right. We're doing a lazy spider here. And I'll do it in the same order we did before because we're not convinced it's the same. And do you, and then do you, and then we do you. So yes, this is just a standard half spider, which we then put in a pin. Because we're being lazy. And because we can. Just because we can go for a bit of variation. Oh dear me. But I also have news in that I fixed my buttons. I would like to point out that the Elgato support crew were no assistance whatsoever in fixing my buttons. It was me. I worked out maybe how to fix my buttons. Although, actually, they also had the information that led me to come to a decision. And as one of my teammates would happily agree this morning, even though I know nothing about something, I am very good at logic. And like this morning when they were doing something, they were like, I don't understand. And I said, well, but for this you had to do that. And you said that on this computer, this account did this. Don't you have to be that account? I don't think so. Logs in, tries the other account. Oh, yes. Oh, of course you do, he says, right? Even though I have no idea what I'm talking about and I'm making it up. And I do this a lot. I am very good at making, well, not assumptions, but deductions. I'm a bit Sherlock Holmesy, but not that intelligent, if you know what I mean. You know, I won't be solving murders anytime soon. But I am good at making deductions from the information given to me on a subject that I understand, to an extent. So anything to do with computers, I'm usually quite good at. Anything to do with crafting, I'm usually pretty good at that too. Other things, no, not so much. And like tidying up. But you know, the deduction I came to was I was looking at why thing, you know, A was not talking to B. So Steam Deck could not see my Elgato hub even though it was running. So I killed off lots of stuff and I looked at what was running on the ports. And there is a thing called Bonjour service, which is actually run by Apple, so I don't quite know how that's got anything to do with Elgato, but apparently it does, and especially as it's to do with networking. So again, I'm running Windows, dude. What the hell's an Apple thing got to do with that? But let's ignore that for the mail. It uses a certain port. And at the time, my browser was using a port, a similar port. Well, the same port on a different IP. And I was like, oh, okay, but that's a bit odd. So I closed down the browser again. And it dawned on me that I have more than one network card, but I'm not using more than one network card. And dig, why is there this secondary network card that is not really mine and not really my IP address? But it's got an IP address. Because I had seen something similar. For my Canon digital camera, there was a problem that was their shit only worked on the first IP address that it came across. So if you had multiple networks, such as a Wi-Fi and a wired network, even if the Wi-Fi was down, so you disabled it, whatever, it was still manually trying to send stuff out the Wi-Fi. Therefore, it didn't work. And well, there's this second IP address. So, you know, knowing point A, even though it's a different company, and knowing that point B is arguably listening on all the right ports, well, maybe not. So, I worked out, by bit of hook or by crook, to be honest, where this other network card had come from, and the answer was, I installed Docker a while ago, and, well, I'm not really using it, so I got rid of it. But I think I'd installed it about the time it stopped working, even though I'd since uninstalled it, so I had no proof of when it came and went particularly. And you're not right, so let's sort you out. You're over that, under that, over that. So I uninstalled the Hyper-V stuff that you can have for Windows, because Docker loves Hyper-V stuff. Oh, bugging me on a horse. It works now. So now you can control my camera. You can zoom in, you can do things. What are you doing, dogs? They've been digging in the garden. Not literally right now, but in recent times. Haven't you? You have dug a hole in my garden. Yes. Slap bang in the middle of the lawn, in fact. Yes. Now, I don't know whether it was you, miss, or little bruvs. But I know it was one of you. Oh, the other thing, this is a bit wobbly, but it's a new table. This table does not tilt. This table has much more space for my legs. It is arguably 1 centimetre higher, and it is not adjustable like the other. However, the adjustable ones I could find were like 10 centimetres higher, and that was well too high. Yes. It's more like a standing table than a table you would use sitting at. So, oh, you don't really fit, little one. Just trying to sit on my lap. Well, more on my boobs, actually, but... and you... What? I have fed you today. You have been fed. You have. I know your little doggy soul says you have not, but I did feed you. I did. I did feed you. I did. If you're out of water. I nearly ran out of Coke. When I go get some more Coke, I'll check you've got more water. Okay? Does that sound fair? Stop sticking your whiskers up my nose. You're not very good at hugs. occasionally like a good hug, don't you? Yes, you do. That's a good girl. Yes. You're getting better at hugs, but you're also 5. You know that, right? You know in dog years, you're allegedly 35 now. 35 going on 5, isn't it? Oh. Really? I have a dog lying on my lap. It's not that I don't love for a dog lying on my lap, but when I'm not streaming and could have a dog on my lap, there are no dogs to be found. Now I'm streaming, there's a dog lying on my right arm, so you can't even see my right finger. You can have my left arm, but I'm not left-handed particularly. I mean, I'm ambidextrous to a large extent. But little dog here is monopolising, and that's as far as I can reach, because there is a little doggy. Yes, there is. Yes, she's a little brown doggy. Yes, she is. And she's pushing my table. Darling. Yes, waggy, waggy, waggy. Stop smacking me with your tail. You are a good girl, but you are also possibly trying to destroy my table. Where's the edge? Yes, you're pushing everything off the back of my table. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Oh. Off you get. There you go. So yes, we have new table, and dog, dogeth doing dogeth things, but we have a new table, so it is a little wobbly, which is slightly disappointing, but it was also pretty cheap. But I actually have much more room for my feet and something to put my feet on. So if I put my feet on the base, it actually helps stabilise it. But it's also quite a flat base. What is that by my foot? Oh, there's still something. Oh, it's a cable. There's a shock. Cables. There we go. I put my foot on the base, which helps stabilise it a bit more. But there's also quite a lot of room for my foot. It's on, whereas previously it was a pedestal, so there was like a pyramid at the bottom. There was a circle with a pyramid, then like a big wide base that went up, and then there was a bit of a circle to kind of put things on. But it was like, you know, here in the middle, so I couldn't really use it. There was a crank handle to try and tighten to stop it tilting, and a twisty handle that you could elevate it up and down with. Which generally I had pointing to the back, but generally the little round kind of, let's call it a coin tray, was digging in me, or the handle, because, well, the coin tray was round. So if this was the centre pedestal, because it was kind of square, you then had like a coin tray like this round it, with a handle poking out the back. So almost irrelevant of where you were, it was at knee height, and it dug in your leg a bit. And so it was not entirely ideal. Whereas now I've got this, it is quite thin, I will, you know, concede that, but it's also C-shape and bends out the back. So although it starts in the middle of the base and joins in the middle at the top, it angles out and it's considerably thinner. So for me to put my feet under it, yes, there's a thing that could, you know, if I do this, for example, that's my foot rocking it. Oh, look, a spam-bot. And I'm sorry, Spambot, you came to die, right? Because, you know, that's what happens when you come here. Although, I didn't hear that, so the question has to be is why did I not hear that? Which means that SpeakerBot is not doing its thing properly. I don't know why, because, well, it's here, event log. Oh, it did say, it says it's doing possible spam, but You didn't do it in my ear, did you? You didn't say it to me in my ear. Oh well, whatever. It's almost like the sound phases in, and I don't quite know why. So you almost have to like do more than one noise for it to happen. Because yeah, there goes my Outlook going, we've received your report, but I didn't actually hear the ping. So open volume mixer, output device, my headphones, set to loud, everything's on 100%. There's only so much you can do in life. So now we need to twist you. I'm gonna have totally lost my train of thought. So whatever I was boring you about, unless you're here to tell me and remind me, I have no idea what I was talking about. Because, well, I got distracted. But never mind. So now I was talking about my table, but I thought we kind of moved on a bit from table, but apparently not. Yeah, I've finally got space for my legs, it's just a bit wobblier, which I wish it wasn't wobblier, but right now wobblier with space is better than, because I used to have my feet on the bottom of the pedestal, and because they were at an angle, you know, 45-degree angle, it meant that my foot was often trying to go to sleep, and it wasn't very pleasant for me. And so now obviously I've got, you know, more space for me, which is a good thing, and more space for the dog to try and come up on the couch under the table, so they're happier with it too. I also got, with my haul, this. Now this looks like either some weird smudging tool, or some form of torture device, or some very primeval dildo. To be honest, the answer is neither. The answer is that one gets longer pins. She says getting longer pins. And you find the magic holes in it, like this. This lives at the back of your work. She says now having to find the other hole, which this, if I scoot it forward a bit like this, you can see it lives at the back. And the idea is you wrap your lace around it as when you work. Now obviously you could probably do this a lot cheaper with a pen or something, right? And hold it down with a bit of string or something. But truth be told, it was not hugely expensive, and it is rather pretty. It's got this kind of big blackety bit on it. Quite sure what the blackety bits are. They're not caused by electronics in, you know, kind of doing that spark thing, but it's also not resin filled gaps, because for example there looks to be a crack here. Now, I'm not saying there isn't a crack, but it's full of blackety stuff. So, but there is kind of a flaw here at the edge of the stuff. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. But the fact that it kind of goes down through is kind of interesting. But it was not expensive, it's more to the point. So which is a good thing because, well, things these days are. So I've got an itchy ear now. That's because there's a hair on my earbud. It was probably in my ear, not the earbud initially. I was explaining to someone to work about these earbuds because these earbuds are not like normal earbuds. So let me get the other one. Right, these earbuds look like this, and you take them off like this. And this earbud is actually designed for wires. This contraption that comes out of it is what makes it Bluetooth. Oops, she's just dropping it. Now, Bluetooth is a good thing. It's a great and glorious thing. I don't disagree with that. But these were not naturally Bluetooth level earpieces. As a result, I can press these bits as much as I like because the ear control is in the contraption that attaches to them. And as a result of being in the thing that it attaches to, it means that you can handle your earbud and you can push it in and pull it out and all of those kind of moments without it doing funky things like changing music tracks and cutting calls off and turning it on and off and all of those kind of Bluetoothy things that generally come with touching the actual earpiece, because it's not controlled by that. So you can pick them up, you can, if it feels like it's falling out a bit, you can push it back in without, you know, muting things. And so yeah, it is quite like them. I'm just keeping on the dogs as to what they're doing, because well, they're dogs. This fly needs to go do one. This fly is, oops, I forgot to pin in there, so I shall put that pen in there. Put this pen in here, like that. And put this pen in here. So. Now I don't need this to be too long, but I want it to be long enough because we want to be able to have a good look at the join. And if it's only like an inch long, it's not really much to look at. So I am expecting to get, you know, maybe twice this length down it. So, and then of course we need to make another one. My dog's being annoying. And I appreciate that it is the summer months and you're all on holiday, but it is kind of sad sitting here talking to myself a little bit. But never mind. Will you stop touching me, fly? I was talking to my ex-husband last night about this fly, and because he absolutely understands. I don't dislike flies, I don't care. If a fly was sitting here and it was just sitting here, I really don't care. I won't have, you know, if I wasn't making lace, I wouldn't have this burning need to do anything about it. He does. He has like a personal need to genocide flies. And he gave it to the dogs. The little man that's my icon on Twitch, he gave that dog neuroses about flies. To the point the dog could see them when they were there. There were floaters in his eyes, but he, honesty to God, that dog thought he saw flies and he would bust out a move and get really upset because there was a fly, because he was so used to Trev doing it. And I don't care about flies. Bees, wasps, many other things in life, but not flies. Hang on, I need to shout the dogs. I saw you digging in the garden. I saw you. And so when I say to him, you know, I explained about how the fly, you know, these invisible ninja flies kind of appear out of nowhere, flick me and fly off. He goes, yeah, I've got those. And so we had quite a long discussion about these invisible ninja flies that are trying to kill us. And I didn't really do a good job of straightening this up, did I? It's just as well we're not doing a metre long one of these. I honestly to God thought I'd line this up straight along this edge. Well, it looks like it's at this angle. I mean, that's straight, and you can see that if I pull this out and move the bobbins over a bit more, if I eke this out down the middle, this doesn't look so straight, does it? It looks kind of off. I'm not doing the motifs in the middle. That's the exact reason I picked this one, is because the rose ground pinholes are just normal pinholes. It's just got markings on it to say do rose grounds where the pinholes are. So, what have you done with Rory now? There he is. So I was checking he hadn't gone outside to do more bad things. And there's a bobbin that's run away down the bottom here. Retrieve you out from underneath the thing. There we go. So where am I at? I want to put you back in a stick. I see the fly. Hang on. It's moved. Missed. Shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put you over there like that. And go back to this lot. Bad fly. Yeah, the fly thing really does wind me up, and it's hard to truly explain why he winds me up as bad as he does, but Mr. Fly is exceptionally annoying, in my humble opinion. Right, let me have a bit more drink, because I haven't drunk a lot today. Now is not the time. Hey, you little shit. I saw you fly out the edge. Hoped I got him. Where's my whacking cloth? Where's my cloth? No, that's a t-shirt. Why is there a t-shirt here? Oh, there's my whacking cloth. My skanky cloth. Missed. Shit. You'd like to think that if he keeps being chased away, he'd like go somewhere else, but it doesn't work that way with flies. They seem to be more determined the more you whack at them. I haven't been whacking at him, to be fair. But I am getting to the whack stage. I've had enough now. You need to cease and desist, Mr. Fly, kind of thing. He suggested getting good old-fashioned fly strips. There is distinctly a possibility that could happen. This is normally where you do picos down the outside. I am not doing picos, because as we all know, repeat after me, Liz hates picos. She finds them crappy. Some dogs truly are solar powered. She's gone to stand in this tiny patch of sunshine in the garden. Oh no, coming back in again. She needed a topper. Are you a solar powered dog? Hmm? Oh. You solar powered. But you are not digging powered. Do not dig in Mummy's garden. You haven't done that for a year or two. I assume they hear something under the grass and then they dig a big hole to get at it, by which time of course it's long gone. And I'm the one left with a big hole in my garden. Did I not put a pin in? That's why I put a pin in. Yeah. I realise now that I didn't put a pin in, because what I do is I come along, put that in there, and then go back out to the edge like this, like I'm supposed to, or I decided to, and give it a tweak, and then ignore it and not put a pin. So this time I'm going to put the pin in, because well, that's the right thing to do. Yeah. Can't believe it's Friday. Mind you, also can't believe it's 3 o'clock. Let's get to the point about now and start. I probably could have started reusing pins good for you rows ago, but you know me, better safe than sorry. forward to is the new season of Wednesdays out. And it wasn't as good as I hoped the first season, but it wasn't bad. So I will watch the second one. I really must do some cardboard and take it out. Alexa, set an alarm for 5:50 p.m.
Second alarm set for 5:50 p.m.
I like the way she thinks it's the second one. It's either the third one. I use your alarms all the time as reminders to do things, so I don't get distracted and look up and go, oh, shit, it's like, 2 o'clock in the morning and I meant to do that 4 hours ago. The problem is what I usually do is set the reminder and then ignore it. Or it's not convenient right now, so it'll be things like, put the bins out, here's an alarm. So, yeah, but I don't want to do that now, I'm in the middle of something. Oh shit, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, it'd be embarrassing to do it now because it'll wake all the neighbours, can't do that now. And I need to check on something from work, which is why I've set an alarm. Oh, lordy. I go this way or that? I think the answer is I go that. So let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 7. Let's put a stick on you. You over there like that. You can go over there like this. You now come over here and each give a twist. And there's one of you. There's 2 of you. You've fallen at the bottom of your stick. Oh, spider. Oh no, please don't stop constantly yawning, woman. That really doesn't help anybody. That's wrong. Because you need to go this way. You are not line number 2. You're line number 2. Now I need 3 of them, and now you'll get an extra twist. Now no, you don't get an extra twist because you've already done. You can now travel through pairs of bobbins to make it to the other side. 1, 2, 3, good. And then you travel through the pairs of bobbins to make it to the other side, like this. And now, no, you, well here, that's right. 1, 2, 2. Three. Ooh. No, you need to go through. So you went over that one, so you're under. That makes you entirely enamoured with the whole idea of scooching up with your friend. So I have to persuade you like that. And then we choke you all around your pin to make you more like shaped. I've got too many here. 1, 2, 3 and a half. 1, 2 and a half. One of you is not where you should be. 1, 2, 3. It doesn't seem to be you. You're a pair, you're a pair, and you're not a pair. That's fine. You should be, but then you're not. So, you're a pair, you, and somehow you're a pair, but you're over there with this one. So this suggests that one of you is an imposter, but it's not. So if you're an imposter, you're not an imposter, you're definitely not an imposter. You're definitely 3 and 6. You're good. So where have you come from? Because you're you. There's been some shenanigans here in the middle. Right, so scooches up more like it should. Where did the pin go? I did take that. So you're going there. Yes. But there's too many here now. It's because you're not part of it. Sort of. Stop trying to join in things that are not your problem. I'm going to go get me a drink. Back in a minute. some Amazon music time. So let's do some way. Hey, Sugar Bear. So glad you're here. No. Not right. Again. This happens every wretched time. This happens far too much in this. I think... Well, yes. It's not quite night, but it's rather close. I'm confused. This isn't... I'm doing this a lot, and I don't quite know how I'm doing it. Right, there's nothing wrong with you. You go in here. I understand. See, I can't explain this. I think... Let me do this anyway. And I'll see if I can explain it. I'll explain why my brain is farting and giving up. See, to make this pole here, I now need this pair. But to do that, I then cover off the pins. That's wrong. However, what seems to be wrong is back here. And the reason that I'm convinced that it's wrong back here on this row, or before this row, is because as I undo these pins, it'll become more apparent in a sec. Hang on. Go back to here, where everything kind of looks okay briefly, right? Now, it looks like this pair and this pair should make that dot. If I do that, this pair comes in front of that pin, and it shouldn't. And the answer is I think I didn't... So, for example, it's one of those things is that everything looks right until you look at it to do something, and then now suddenly it doesn't work anymore, you know? See, you two happily meet and make this hole here, but I need to continue the line behind it, and that would do that. this goes in here, and this happily makes this line behind these pins. If I go to do this pair, well, it looks like it should go in this pin, but there's a pinhole here, and there's a line here. So I fucked up somewhere. But I'm not quite sure where. And the answer has to be down here somewhere. It's the only logical conclusion, because it seems to work until we get to the end here. So I obviously did something wrong. Is it just that I didn't have a pin in it? Is that all that was wrong with it? So how's Sugarbell? No, because the moment I go to do this one, it's still not right. The actual funk. What if it's not you that's wrong? I haven't done you. It's you, like that, that's wrong. And I just missed. Let's try this. Good. I was feeling a bit sad sitting on my own, so I'm really glad to see you. But you're still wrong here. Well, I really need to deal with Crap Mountain and some of the cardboard boxes that I've got. And my neighbours have said, because they've got a skip, that I can put loads of stuff in their skip. Can't be arsed. I had such a shitty day yesterday. I can't be arsed. And with this playing up, and I was doing really well. I'd made like all this big chunk and a big chunk down here, and it was going well. And now it's not adding up. And I just kind of losing the care, you know? And I don't see how it's not adding up either. Yeah. There are just times in life where your brain just goes, no. See, what you'll notice if you look, not that you, I mean, wait for this. Dink. No, but if you look, I mean, again, it's not that obvious, but if you look behind, it's hard to tell because of the angles of the pins, but this is the line of pinholes, but this line starts behind here and then goes up, but this line, it seems to go in a straight line. But there isn't a line in the middle, but I haven't missed any holes. So I already think that if... Yeah, basically, but I have got my camera working. And a new table. It's a bit wobbly, but I do have a new table that doesn't tilt. See, something's wrong there. Shouldn't have done you again. That's why. But you see, this line goes behind these pins, not in front of them. But if I put pins in, there's nothing that these pins would be supporting. So if I take out these pins that look wrong and put the other side, so I put that there and that there like that, and that there like that, and that there like that, which would then continue that line, and then I can put in these like this. Does this sort it out? Something's still not right with you. No. See, that's not right. It looks better, but I don't think it's right. Because it does look better, except for to make this one, I've now got to bend this round the bottom, and that would be wrong. And if I don't bend this round the bottom one, there's no pair between these pins. It's a bit like calculating time, you know, when you go, well, if I go from here to here, that's 10 minutes, but is that 10 minutes inclusive? So it's actually 11 minutes, or is that 9 minutes, or is that... Well, you're clearly wrong. So let's undo you. And take you out, because you don't seem to be doing anything useful. You're definitely doing nothing, so something's definitely wrong by the time we get to you. Oh, I think I've seen part of the problem. You should be there, which means you go here, and then you here, like this, which means, no, that still doesn't work. It's a bit like that one of those ones where there's 30 quid and you give me £10 each and I give you £3 change. I then realised I need to give you, it was actually 9 quid, so I give you another £3 back. You now all pay 9 quid, but I'm money short or whatever, you know the one, and you're left sitting there going, now part of the reason of course is the way you say it. So you give me 30 quid, but I give you some back, but I don't give you it all back. I only give you the difference, and so technically I'm up or you're down or whatever. And but this seems to be kind of where this is going, to be honest. because you still go around the thing, even though 2 seconds ago you looked right. This is the problem we had last night, and in the end I undid a whole big splodge of it because somehow it's just not adding up. What it is it's like this should be here. Now, that means there's a pinhole missing, but that's what it looks like. It so looks like that should be a thing. And maybe that was just all it was. But at the same time, I know that it's not. This is why I don't think we can do a curtain in it. The reason I know that this can't be right is because that would then mean that this has to go and meet this one, but this then bends around the pin, which is wrong. Maybe I was being a douche, so let's try this. See, this looks right until you get here and realise that there was nothing to come out into that. a feeling it's here. Because the line above the one I'm on seems to start and drop down, even though it should continue across. See, that doesn't continue the line. Because there's a line that goes behind here. That's better. Still reckon we're going to run into a problem at the end. Yeah, because there's nothing to... Now, some of the problem is that these need to be more down. Like this. That doesn't change the fact that I've run out of pairs. Oh, Sugar Bear, I'm really not in the mood for this. You know how it is? You know how there are times when you're really up for the challenge and, you know, you're really, and then there are days when you're just kind of like, you know what, yeah, screw it, burn it. I'm kind of in that mood, but I've got a feeling it's not, well, it is my fault, if you know what I mean. My mood is mind control, after all. But I've got a feeling I've got to undo quite a chunk of it, which, you know, not exactly the most joyful thought of the day. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I'm very much with you on that. I can't explain it, but I'm also just not in the mood. And how are you not undoing? There you go, that's fine. Stuck together. There you go. As you say, you know, you're all excited, you turn it on, and you kind of go, you know what, actually, maybe not. Oh, hi, Naughty Cat. We're trying to work out how the hell I stuffed this up. I'm just fed up, my friend. I don't think it's more complicated than that. You see, you would be the pair to meet up with you, except then there's only two. That sounds nice. And I'm having, let me explain to Nautica. So, normally you do cross, twist, twist, put in a pin. So the join is above the pin, right? But of course it springs up and then often looks like it's below the pin of the line above, right? So I'm sitting here trying to work out why I seem to be a pair short without being a pair short. Sounds like fun. I haven't got the patience for this. If I screw it up in this really short period, there's no way I'm doing this for a neck curtain. And I think at some point I've overthought it, done the wrong thing, but it's not hugely apparent. Because I've gone back through great swathes of it, just like I did last night. And last night, I swear I sorted it out first thing. We did a whole load of it. It was looking really good. And now it doesn't add up again. I take these down here like this, which is the logical conclusion, that seems fine. You go out there. But instantly you run into an issue, because this should feed into that, but I've only got one pair feeding in here. And this is what happens when you don't, because it doesn't cover your pins, it doesn't stay where you put it. So if I assume that you and you are a thing, and put you in here like this, you're now at a really jaunty angle, whereas if I take this pin and put it where it looks like it should go here, it's more right that way, but it's still wrong this way. And it's one of these things is that it only looked like two bobbins were wrong initially, and we've gone back like, you know, an hour and a bit, and why can I not undo these fucking pairs? And you go back, and the more you go back, the worse it seems to get, because I'm going to cut this off in a minute and give it up. Let's put these in a stick, because clearly I am not ready for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are not ready for you. And all these pins that were in here and that are now in there that I've undone, because this is how much I've undone. All these pins have been used and I've now had to pull them out. And we're still not back to a bit that feels we're good. Kind of each pin I take out doesn't feel wrong, but it must be somewhere about here, I reckon. Because you didn't do anything. You see, this shouldn't go across because it's then under this pin and it shouldn't be under that pin. Which means that you were supporting the twist in there, which makes you right, but then you can't come round and support you because you'll still be in the wrong place. So already it's wrong again. I don't care if the join will be perfect. I really, really don't. Done with this. I haven't got the the energy to fight it. Can't fight it all the time. And I'm not going to do 7 meters when you get 3/4 of the way through and it doesn't look right, and you end up going back, you know, 3 meters and it's still looking wrong. I have not got energy for that. So we will not be doing this for the moment. So we will disregard that plan. For those who have not seen, hang on, let me go get the thing. Hang on. Let me go get the thing. Help if I click on any of the right shits, of course. I didn't bother putting it up today, so... There's a link. There's nothing funny about it. You don't need to register. It's not going to eat your children. Please vote if you have not already. As I say, I don't care how perfect the drawing would be. This is clearly screwed up somewhere, and I can't seem to get back to a healthy point. So we will pull it off. Come on. Yeah, I can't even see from that what's wrong with it. Looks perfectly fine, but we know it's not. The lid on before I throw those over the floor or something. Now, let's put this on something dark, she says. Where's my dark one gone? There it is. Oh, there's a dark one. Which then leads me to wonder, what did I do with... Problem is I... Hang on, I need to shut this music up. I haven't got the patience to hear too much in my ear rolls at any one time. And when I'm trying to concentrate, I lost all patience yesterday, and I haven't gained it back yet today. Really, fuck off. Well, I do. I just need a hero that's useful, you know? And not one who's shouting in my ear. Not right now. I definitely need a hero. Right. Let me put... I love listening to music, but there's like... It either works for me or absolutely against me. There is no meh, not really bothered in the middle, right? So if we look at the thing that I just made, even though it's a pile of crap, it is, but we will ignore that. So let me... I've hit the table, or I've touched the table, God forbid. Right, so let me go down. And let me remove the window that's covering the window, the thing of the window. Right. Even though, as you can see, it all looks like it was lining up, somehow it wasn't, so we'll ignore that. Stop adjusting the focus of the damn thing. There is nothing to be adjusting, camera. Let me click on the stop adjusting the focus thing, because that's going to annoy the crap out of me if it keeps doing that. Where's the focus? Stop it. Yes, I know you're blurry now. I will focus you. Hang on. That looks pretty good. Right, so. As you can see, this would make single fronds down the edge, which is why the join would be better. But as we've seen, it can screw up somehow, and it looks like maybe there, because there's an open-ended one and then a closed one, and they should all be the same, so something's kind of gone wrong a bit there, but I'm not entirely sure what, because if that had gone down, there wouldn't have been one to go out, and to be honest, so something somewhere went wrong. But I think it just proves that this is not going to be worthy. This is not going to reliably make me an Ekin. If I can't make something the size of an inch square without losing my shit, thinking of making something that's 1 metre by 1.5 meters is probably not a good idea. And it's not that I can't do it, but there's definitely something wonky, because if you look, let me get a pokey device, because it's hard to point at things when your fingers are the size of, in a small island. There should be lines coming down, right? And you get to here, and there's like 2 bigger ones and a smaller one. Now, some of it could be because it's just pulled it a bit, but in essence, the thread should snake down, except for where there's a snake, and then they do a bit more shenanigans. But there's this gap here, whereas here, if you look at how these 3 pull over, the line comes all the way down. Well, this line starts going backwards, so something's not right somewhere, and it's painful to work through. So I honestly think that while I would have a better join, I don't hate my joins. And so for Nautical, who may not have gone voting yet, but inside here are my strips. It's upside down, but there we go. Let's turn it around. Fuck off, ads. How come the ads always come in when someone starts talking to me? Why is that a thing? Right. How is that always a thing? So I'm trying to... It is, isn't it? Well, of course, it's in their interest to spam you with ads when someone turns up because there's more of you to watch them. So, I mean, to be honest, my viewing numbers have been quite small the last couple of days, and you know, I don't know whether it's my fault, probably, almost certainly, in fact, or whether it's just bad luck, or you know, life, or. But you know, I've had quite a few streams where I've sat for a couple of hours talking to myself and wandered off at the end, going, well, it is a little bit weird. So once the ads have done their thing, we will have a better look at this. And it's still not bloody straight. There you go. I know it's not perfectly straight still, but it's better. I've got a minute and 40 of bloody ads. Oh. They take forever as well. I know it's only 3 minutes an hour or something, but it just always seems to be right when you're in the middle of something. I can sit for an hour saying nothing. The moment you strike a conversation, oh, it's ad time now. And I know it's coming. There's a thing on my screen, but of course I'm looking at what I'm doing. And it just always seems to be that the moment something happens, it's a bit like film. You know, they're about to discover the thing. Oh, it's time for ads. Fortunately, most of films do not have ads in these days. But, you know, back in the day. Well, it often feels like that as well. Because technically there's still another nearly a minute of it to go. The problem is, of course, is Twitch. I get to say to Twitch when they can take their ads and roughly how long they're allowed, but they are not obligated to use it or to use all of it, and some countries just never get ads. Full stop. And so it's not like, well, if we get, if you give up 3 minutes of every hour, we'll pay you $15 or something, right? Bear in mind, it's never anywhere near $15, but you know what I mean? It's not like, if you agree to every 3 minutes, you'll get $1 or you'll get, it's not. I can get nothing, absolutely nothing, but still have a 3-minute ad break. Believe me, I do not make anything reasonable from this. So these are my test strips, and as my camera is now playing ball because I fixed it, and as mentioned earlier, no thanks to the support crew, these joints really are not that bad. I mean, you can see them, and from some angles they show a little more than others. So if I go this way a bit more, some of the joins are marginally better than others, but they are pretty even. Rory! There you go. But if I zoom out just a tiny bit, right, so we can have a bit of a look. This one looks roperier on camera than it does in real life, is all I will say. This one and this one look pretty good. So if I go this way a bit, you can see this one's got a bit bolder, but it's still not bad. It still looks pretty accurate. This one looks pretty good. Now, the reason these, by the way, yeah, I know my table's wobbly, but bite me. It's a new table. It's got much more space for my legs, and it's a lot more comfortable. Oh, it's not about liking any strip. I need the individual motifs bit from it. But the join, this join, right, the first 3 joins, let me go this way. So, hang on, where am I? These 3 joins here, 1, 2, and 3. And, well, basically, these 4 got washed. This was, for those who missed it, this was not my wisest decision. For it screwed itself into a piece of dental floss, and I had to pin it out. Hence, if I go this way a bit more, and down a bit, you can see that this is where I pinned this edge because I was not going to be sewing to it. Whereas the one that I had to sew to, I had to pin out every single one of the holes so that the hole was clear for me to sew into. This took a really long time, and holy crap, dog, what have you eaten? Excuse me, you can't see the mist, but imagine like stink lines doing this, right? Actually, it's more coming this way, but there are stink lines. So, but the washing did not do well. So if we go in again and cross over here. This was the first one we ever did, and this was where we overlaid the two rings like this and sewed around them. When washed, because when I sewed around them, it's hard when I want to zoom out very quickly. Because I didn't sew all the way around a ring, because obviously you could only sew it was an S shape. What it meant was that, like, one side, as I went round this side would be a flat. Well, this kind of flattened in when we washed it, and as a result, it now looks like this. Now, to be honest, it looks decorative. It doesn't look solid. It, as I say, really sorry about this, but it's not a solid table, but at the same time it is. It doesn't tilt like the old one, but it is rather sensitive to the old wobble, right? And it can't be tightened anymore. This one was the one where I only did one side, and as you can see, it's kind of gone. It's got a flat side to it, so it's got a kind of straight line to it. Now again, if I pinned it all when I dried it, this would probably work. I am not. Bear in mind. Hang on, let me kind of count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 44 pinholes down this line, and bear in mind that's barely the length of my hand. So over a metre times 6, times more strips. No, it needs to have a bit more self-stability. So then we move on to I went up one side and down the other. Or technically I went down, I went up one side and down the other, and was stupid because then these tops didn't really line up very well. So I then did it from the top down next time. But I did this, and bar the few mistakes, this is held up pretty well. And as you can see from this, while it's marginally bold, which of course again you would expect because I've taken my 2 points, for fuck's sake, taken my 2 points, and obviously there's 2 points above it, and I haven't got enough things to demonstrate it with. Yes, I have. Hang on. So I've got 4 bibbles, and in between the bibbles there's like crossings overs of the pairs. So you come up through the hole in the cross, you wind around the thing, go loop round the 2 bibbles, back down the thing, up through the cross, around the leg, over the bibbles, down the leg, up through the hole. So you're kind of constantly going up one side and then you come back the other way. So in the middle there are 2 threads going over each other where you've already got 2 threads crossing, so it will look bold. But it's not kind of Belisha Beacon job. It's not bold. It is bold, but it's not horrendous. And closer up, if you look at some bits of it, this looks a little bit bolder because this was one I washed. This one I haven't washed yet, and although it's a bit brown, as you know, it looks like I peed on it. The join here basically is invisible until you wash it. This one over here for some reason looks a little bit more wonky. I think, did I rush it? Is it just needing a bit of a tug? Now this is going to sound stupid, but you'd be surprised how much a tug can make a bit of a difference. So if I give that a bit of a tug. See, already it looks slightly more even, and all I did was give it a bit of a tug, right? Now I bought some blocking mats because obviously once I've done it, if it all turns out pea coloured like this, I will have to wash it because it should be white like this one. And this one really looked like I dunked it in my tea. It really was quite brown. It wasn't like... wasn't brown, but it was slightly darker than this. Now, although this is not horrendously brown. You can see this is browner than this, right? Stop wobbling. I'm not in the mood, right? But at least I got my camera working so I can show you things. So if you go to the link at the top, which I pinned, you can vote on the 19. Yes, there are 19 of these buggers. Yeah, basically, I showed you it when I did the bookmarks, but basically you put it on something, and I've got proper blocking mats now, but you put it on something and then you put like a pin in and you kind of straighten it out and pull it out, because bear in mind it kind of into a thing the size of dental floss, so you kind of stretch it out a bit, and a bit like when you're tensioning your ropes, you tension them all, and then once you've tensioned them, well, now there's a lot more slack because the inner ring has tightened up a bit, the middle ring you tightened up a bit, but by the time you got to the outside edge, well, you've now seem to have more room to tighten up the inner one, so you keep going round until you kind of run out. And blocking can be a bit like that. Now, you can overstretch things, especially with knitting, but it is... hence, if you actually look, for example, this looks wider than this one, and it probably is. I mean, if I fold it in half, it is a hair wider, right? Whereas, you know, this one looks thinner because, well, I didn't stretch the edges out as much. It's actually surprising how much more in person browner these look, by the way. It's not horrendous. I mean, it's not like they're charcoal black or something, but they look antique. Seriously, that would be your natural reaction, is these are older. Not just, even though I wash my hands before I do this, apparently it's not enough, right? Now, as I said, there is, on the pinned comment, there is options to, pick up to 3 of your favourite motifs. There is the option to vote on whether we keep snakes on every panel, or whether we do like one on the outside perhaps, or, you know, one down the middle or something, right? And the other option is, let's say we pick 2 motifs or 3 motifs, whether we stagger them or we keep... Yay! Thank you, Sigbear. I mean, to be fair, I've had a fair few votes. I'm not going to sound like it's technically a lot, but I think I've had 22 people vote so far. So the more people who give me their opinions, the more broad the opinions are. I reserve the right to disagree with you entirely, but to be honest, it's not looking too bad. Interestingly enough, these 2 are getting the most votes at the moment. Only by a bit. But these 2 are getting the most votes. And then I think it's that one and that one. Thank you, Sugar Bear. The more opinions, the better. You know, it's not like it costs money. It's not going to steal your children. It doesn't even ask who you are. Because I set it up that way. It originally wanted everyone to log in, and I was like, they're not going to do that. No one's going to register on yet more bloody website just to go, yes, I like option number 3. So I managed to find a way to make it so that none of you have to log in. But I was quite pleased. I mean, there were themes, and I could have done whole masses of things. But I was really quite pleased with the fact that it was free. Because a number of the ones I looked at were like, oh yeah, set up your free questionnaire. Okay, great. Yes, you can put on all of these things. Oh, you want to publish it? Well, that'll be £9 a month, please. Well, it's not free then, is it? Oh, but it's free to set it up. Yeah, but I can't use it. It's not good to me if I can't use it. So I was really pleased when I found that one, and it is very flexible actually. As I say, there are quite a lot of options that I didn't feel the burning need to use. But you can put pictures and logos on it. You can put text on it. So, you know, you could have like this and then I could have put the numbers on here and had it like, you know, and then drawn alternative layouts or all sorts of stuff, and it would have handled it all. It really was quite good. As I say, I know kind of which ones I feel slightly drawn to, but I didn't want to give you all too many decisions because that is overwhelming for you as it is for me. Because, for example, let's pick these 4 rose ground squares, right? What we could do is at the top of the strips do single dots getting closer together, and then they turn into bigger dots, turn into bigger dots, turn into bigger dots by the bottom. No, let's not. But we could. Yay, thank you, Nautical. So, like a lot of it, there are choices. There are choices I hope you don't pick. And if you pick them, I will ignore them. That one. Well, like everything, I've got to put a bit of me into it. Will I regret this? Yes. Yes, I probably will. I mean, let's think of the squares. Didn't do so well on that now, did I? So, let's have a bit of honesty into it. What I thought was really funny is, I can tell you now, well, let me quickly go check. Hang on. Click. Let's go to the top. Refresh. More of you have picked Thursday. Okay. 3 people have said I'm not going to regret this. 22 have said that I will. Now, when for most of yesterday, I know who one of the I won't regret this people is. One of them is one of which is my co-worker, the one who texts me a lot, and he said, because he was the first one to vote, so I know it was him, and it's kind of like, and he said, I'm not going to regret this, and I'm like, do you know me? How weird are you? I mean, I wanted to put a bit of humour into it, and because obviously, in a way, it's a serious question, because I am kind of overrun with options, and my brain is just having a little kind of seizure in the corner, right? And as I say, there are some of these I am more drawn to than others. There are some that... Now, you may notice that these 2 panels did not really appear. Well, that's because most of these are either... Because these ones are the same as these ones. This looks a mess. This kind of looked... Any of the ones that had the square edges kind of looked a bit messy. This just looks like I screwed it up. And, well, this was just disappointing. So I decided not to include those. There's only 2 on here, because while there's 3 big ones, 2 small ones, there's only 2 on here. And I did exclude this one, because this one was the one that was going to be something else that didn't work out. I tried something, and it's not even symmetrical, and I don't want to be doing that when it comes to the day. So we'll ignore that one. Pretty much, I'm kind of open to the others. No, please don't do that one. I will not be doing the rose ground starts and finishes if I pick any of those. I do kind of like these. I like these. I don't dislike any, but I am slightly drawn to a couple of them. And I'm interested to see what other people think, because at the end of it, and I mean this with all from the bottom of my heart, once I've made it and put it on my window, you don't really think I'm actually going to look at it, do you? I'm not going to, it's not like it's in here and it's right in front of my face and I'm going to see it all day, every day. It's going to be, pretty much the only time I walk past it is at stupid o'clock in the morning when I get up and I am not awake yet. I'm looking at my feet, making sure I don't fall down the stairs. So hence, it does not have to be presentable to the king quality, right? Some mistakes and some forgiveness can be had because, well, I might even have the curtain drawn because although it's a net curtain, there is a curtain that kind of goes in front. So if I do that, chances are I won't even bother opening it. So I'm not going to see it, and I'll just walk past where it is and completely forget that it exists. So with that in mind, that, you know, while I'm going to put considerable effort into it, there is also the, well, there's considerable effort and then there's considerable effort, right? There is no point beating yourself to a pulp and making your own life absolutely impossible if, you know, no one's going to see it. But I have, as I said, hang on, I bought this. Now, that doesn't look very interesting to you from there, so that is a case, and in the case are these, which are pinning blocks, and they got numbers on so that the lines all line up so that you can keep the lines straight over bigger items. And in essence, you have, it comes with some pins, but as you will soon see, where's the top? There's the top. It's wider than one square, so, you know, hence there'll be two squares joined together kind of thing. But you put it in and you put, you know, you put the thing in a corner and you put the thing in the corner and you line up the line and you pin down the line and you give it a tug and you stretch it all out and you let it dry, right? So you can make sure that, you know, if I make it to be 1/2 metre by 1 metre, you stretch it back out to be 1/2 metre by 1 metre, so at least it's still fit, right? I'll probably invest in a small can of spray starch to hold it, but this really has no weight to it. This is part of the reason I really love this, is the fact that this is, you know, it, you know, as a small chunk, it has a bit more weight than each individual strip obviously did, because that was very much like holding smoke in your hands. But there is, you know, one square, bear in mind one square is kind of this big. I mean, it's square, but it's got the same volume as these two. So this is effectively 3 and a bit squares in size. This weighs as much as 1 square. And now, of course, I've got some pretty colours. Now, I'm not going to do the pretty colours. I'm not going to do pretty colours for the neck curtain. Although, you know, I was momentarily distracted by the idea of doing pretty colours. But there's just times not to. I mean, to be honest, the time you might is if you do something like this. You could do like the diamonds in a colour. Because you can add a worker pair and make the back and forth the colour. So although it would be interlaced with white, it would still have a colour. And obviously the finer the thread, the less you notice. It's much like pixels. If your pixel's this big, you see when it goes red, black, white, black, white. If a pixel is the tiny, you know, the size of a pinhead, but it just looks grey. The fact that they go black, white, black, white, black, white starts disappearing. And this is very true with weaving. If you use really big threads and you weave alternating colours, you can see them from space. If you do it with thin colours, they blend and you get, your eyes blend it all together. So to an extent you can do that with lace, because obviously the threads are quite small, but it's still painful. But this is the width of my window. I still haven't actually gone upstairs and checked, but this is the calculated width of my window. Hang on, where's my tape measure? I've got the piece of paper somewhere. It's over there, hang on. So let's measure how wide this is currently. This is 44 centimetres. I've got a feeling it was 47. But then of course I washed it and I didn't finish stretching it all out. So, you know, hang on, let me go get my piece of paper. No. Holy shit, people. Holy shit. I wrote down the size of my window. I know you can't read it from there. 97 centimetres high. I mean, if I do this, hang on. You can see a bit better. 97's 43 centimetres wide. See? I'm not losing my shit. I know my stuff. So, you know, give or take a section, give or take a little bit of leniency. This is like, you know, my window is this big, so it will happily just slightly overlap the window, which is roughly what I wanted. Because what I've got is I've got like door handles, like the big pull handles, so like the square ones. I've got a square curtain rod that it's a straight rod that has holes in it. You slit on two pokey prongs and it forms like the door handle shape, but very close to the window because, well, it's tiny. And the plan is that effectively the curtain rod will go, I'll have one at the top, one at the bottom to hold it against the window, so that when you open the window, this goes with the window, rather than blowing in the wind and being really annoying, and all of that kind of stuff. It will be with the window. So it is a net curtain, but it's more a window decoration rather than a functional one length curtain. Which also means if I want to move it to another window and make a friend for it that's the same, I could then do that. And if I made 3 of them, I could arguably put them in here. So I'm not going to do that in a hurry, though. That's probably not a plan. I probably need to do something else in the meantime. But you see, I knew it was worth writing them down because I knew that I'd want to check. Because you know, I'm good at that. But so I've got my blocking mats because, and let me show you what I mean. So you get your blocking mat like this and you join them together. I think like this. Yeah. So that the lines all line up like this. And then you can put the thing on the mat and you can... It's just unfortunate it's white, and obviously my lace is white, so you can't really see it, but you know, you get the idea. So, and then it comes with a tin of pins, which are called T-pins, because, well, they're a bit, for the British amongst us, they're spam tin openers. They've got heads on, and so you can pick them up. They're quite chunky, but they're big enough. They're small enough to go in the holes, so that's all that matters really. We have no more concerns than that. And it has a little pouch to store the T-pins in. And so the reason I bought this one is because it has a holder for the pinning pads. I mean, effectively they're just like rubber floor tiles. You can use rubber floor tiles, but obviously these have got 1-inch markers on. I could have picked centimetres, but I didn't really want to pay another 10 quid for centimetres. And it is basically 17 inches, as I recall. Hang on. 43 is, yeah, 17 inches. So all I have to do is follow the 17 inches thing, and it's the same when it comes to pinning. So with that in mind, that works perfectly well for me. I'm cool with inches. I am fairly multilingual in that department. So I'm okay with it having inches. And even if I had to do it halfway through an inch, I'm sure I can measure half an inch and, like, you know, make my own line. But my plan is to make a more solid line for the actual outside. So like I did with this bit here. Let me fold this in half and put this back down. So while I made it this way around, all I did was make a bit more of a solid line here, and I'll do the same I think, for the actual piece. So much like the squares, the outside edges will have a harder edge because, well, it's easier to sew that onto something. But there's no point making these impossible pointy edges when you don't need to. So I'll just kind of do that. But to be honest, the thing I need to do now is pick motifs, decide how far apart we want them to be. Because although these are on here, these basically are touching. So, you know, that's probably not the best plan. But we need to decide how far apart, because again, I know, let's take these. Let's say we pick these two and this is going to be what our strip roughly looks like. If we keep them this close together, bear in mind this is, you know, 15 inches or whatever it is, 15 centimetres, that's going to be over a metre, and we're going to repeat it 6 times. That could get really busy, and once it's too busy, it's kind of hard to look at. So do we want to space them out a bit more? Everyone's currently voting for alternating them, so maybe big, small, but so it might go big, small, small, big. They're that far apart. But I also think if they're that far apart, it's going to be a bit boring for you to watch, because 90% of the time it'll just be me making a load of ground stitch. So I think we have some choices. So let's say, for sake of the argument, we pick this one and this one. Well, we could do big, little, 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 big, 3 more littles, big, or something, right? So that we could spread it around a little bit. So that there's not too much of the big ones standing out, and they're mainly littler ones. You know, there are still an awful lot of choices, and I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of, as I said, my brain's kind of having a small, like, seizure in the corner, because there is just so many options that could be picked, and so many permutations, and how do you pick one? But of course, while normally if you were having kind of indecisive moments with, say, well, do I pick this colour or this colour? Well, the obvious answer is you should do both. Well, that's kind of the problem, isn't it? And that's kind of where I'm at, is that I don't want it to be too busy so you get instant migraines if you look at it, right? But I also don't want it to be dull to make, because then I'll get bored of it. Because let's say, if I did one small, you know, if I do a motif at the top and then one motif at the bottom, so there's like 2 motifs per metre, we're all going to be in a coma by the end, because 99.9% of my time will be me making snakes with the ground in between it. Now, it might look all right, but it's not like that meter goes by that fast. And, you know, I don't want it to be boring, because, you know, even the last few days, even though we've been making lace and, you know, doing things together, or, you know, as a group kind of thing, most of you were absent, and I couldn't help but wonder if it was because it was too boring. I mean, I don't, you know, none of you, believe me, none of you have to make an excuse as to why you're not here. But, you know, considering that over a while, my numbers have been going up, and it was like, great, excellent. And then suddenly, the last 2 days, I had like nobody. And it's like, what did I do? You know, did I forget to wash? You know, do I smell? But I also know that it's holiday season and people have got better things to do. But there is that irrational, and I can see why a lot of the influencer types get really upset over dropping numbers and they think they're being cancelled. Because, you know, I'd gone from having like quite a few of my recent streams had like 7 or 8 people as an average. My last 2 streams had an average of 1. One of them I think had 0. And then there is a bit of you that kind of goes, did I do something? Did I say something? Anyway, it's 5 o'clock. We are in a position where we need to make a decision. So we don't go back for another month here in the UK. Our school usually starts near the beginning of September. So lots of people are still very much on holiday, to the point, although I work in a department where 3 of us are ex-full-timers and the rest are have always been contract, shall we call it. Therefore, we still have the right to knock off at 12 o'clock on a Friday. They couldn't take that away from us. What a shame. One doesn't work Fridays, so she's out, but she was on holiday all week anyway. One guy just disappeared about 10 o'clock saying, I'm done now. We've got to do 5 hours on a Friday. There's no way you weren't online when I started at 7. Whatever. But basically, by the time I knocked off at 12... Well, one guy was now on more people were on holiday, and it was him and the manager left, and that was it. And it's kind of like, yeah, I know. And there's some work that starts in an hour that I had to schedule a job for, and I will do a sneaky login and check the thing that I have to release, because apparently the guy who's supporting it is on holiday. How does that work? But it's not me, and I'm grateful for that, because, well, I am indirectly and unofficially, I am the emergency break glass via an indirect manner on call for it, because I won't be paid, but I have to say it to someone, the guy who's covering it has never done a Unix ticket in his life. Now, he might be very capable, but I've never seen him do anything. He doesn't know what any of our rules are. That could go really wrong. So, yeah, kind of a bit, about that. So, hence I have kind of said to the project manager, who's a friend of mine, or a work friend of mine, rather, at least, if you need me, you, my friend, you are having my number, and you can I give it? No, you can't give it to Dude because I don't like him. No, you as my friend, you can call me if it all goes really, really wrong, and you know I can save it. Other than that, have a great weekend. I'll see how badly you did on Monday. I do that a lot, to be fair. We all have, for anyone who works, you all have people you would do a lot more for than others. Mainly because then they treat you like a human being, usually. And the Karens, of course, do not, the Karens, oh look, I've got a hangnail, I'm going to be picking that for an hour, sorry love, can't do your ticket, I'm busy, it's we all have a few of those in our lives where, if there was anything else you could be doing, suddenly the need arises, It's almost the I'll tidy my house before that happens kind of moment. And, I do find myself drawn to certain people in the company who have always been nice to me. And so as a result, I will always do a bit more for those people. Everyone else gets what it says on the tin. What a shame. And if you ask for a sprout sandwich, you can have a sprout sandwich. If you're one of the good guys, I'll kind of be like, you really wanted that? Is that really what you meant? But if you're not one of the good guys, well, yes, what you asked for is what you got. Oh, it's not what you wanted. Well, that's what it says here. It says to give you this, so I did. If that's not what you want, you can ask for it to be revoked and ask for a new thing. But of course, that's a new SLA. Thank you very much. Bye. Right. and then of course there's a few people that you kind of go, oh God, no, oh no, not them. And it's kind of like, I'm going to polish the bytes on my hard disk back in 3 hours. You know, I'm going to make up something to be busy. I won't say I've never done that. I don't think I've knowingly done it at this company. I have in the past done it. I have definitely done it at one company. It was a long time ago. Not knowingly done it. I've been very tempted to do it on a number of occasions. I don't think I've knowingly, deliberately done it. I may have subconsciously found myself involved in something else and not really remembered that I should have been doing something else. Probably done that. But I haven't kind of gone, yeah, no, you can wait. Right, I'll just go, oh, that's interesting. What's that? Do you need a hand with that? You know, and wandered off looking for something else to do. So, I've not consciously done that. I'm not going to say I haven't, but I'm consciously done it. Because, there's always someone. There's always, I work in a pretty large company, so there's bound to be one that you just kind of like, you hear their name and you're like, oh, God, no. We've actually got a couple, and I don't know anyone who overly has patience for them, which is quite amusing because you always start off thinking, oh, it must be me, I must be being unreasonable, I really should give them more chance. And then you hear that no one else likes them and you're kind of going, maybe there's something in it then. Maybe it's not a me thing, maybe they are just a jerk. And I do know people who have done the kind of like, there's a ticket from so-and-so, yeah, I can wait till next week. I do know people who've done that. Can't think of any in our team directly. I know there are people in our team where it's kind of like, rock, paper, scissors as to who gets the worst of a bad job. But, we fight, there's a silent fight over not doing it. But it's, I did run across a good one today. For anyone who's worked in the service industry, where you help other people, we have a ticket-based system. We're IT, of course we do. So someone logs a ticket saying, this dude needs this, but we don't grant that. Somebody else does. So rather than just give someone else the ticket, people have been logging a new ticket to log the ticket to get someone else to do it. I kind of sat there going, so you did what? So you log a ticket saying create so-and-so, saying log a ticket with the other group to grant this other person access. Then you log the actual ticket. So there are 3 tickets for the fact that Dude X has sent a ticket to the wrong group. So you then don't bounce it onto the right one. You log another ticket to say you're going to log a ticket. I'm sorry, what? What are you doing? That's just fiddling your numbers, dude. That's definitely fiddling your numbers. It's kind of like counting me, myself, and I. I'm sorry. It's not 3 tickets. It's 1, and you don't even do the work. All you have to do is copy and paste a text thing into that and hit update. To log 2 tickets, one for you to move it and one to actually for them to do the actual work, takes way longer than just going grab from Notepad, paste, update. Or just tell the silly person who's logging the tickets to you in the first place, can you stop logging them to me? They need to go to this team. And walk away. Then you won't even have to do the paste update. Well. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave you for today. I'm sorry that I'm going to leave you for today. But we need to pick our future. Part of me says something like this so that it is fairly busy. Yeah, I think part of me says depending on which ones we pick, but I don't think this kind of frequency is necessarily bad, but it does depend on which ones we pick, because I think like this is a bit busy, but if you had a small blob and a bigger blob, so you had big, small, big, small, big, the smalls would disappear a lot more and it would look a lot less busy. So yeah, I don't know. I'm very torn. Hence needing your help. So, for all of you who vote, thank you very much. As I said, it does really help, because even if I choose to ignore you know, the final winners, knowing that lots of people would have picked these, you know, as an average would have picked these 3 things, or 2 things, or whatever, I can look at it and go, well, actually, you know, let's say I want, let's say, as I say, the small one and the big one, and you guys pick these 2, right? Well, we know what these look like together, and we don't hate them. So, well, that's not really a problem. Most of you have said not to do kind of different things alternating, but to make more of a checkerboard, so big, small, and then do small, big, small, you know. But I don't know. I'm keen to move on. I'm keen to get started, but of course I can't start without a plan. And for those who missed it, I have a contraption, this being my contraption, which basically, as it comes off the lace board, you wrap it round and it's got holes in it, and you just curl it on there so it doesn't dangle off onto the floor and the dogs don't eat it and jump on it and rip it and the rest of it, because obviously being a metre long there is quite a bit of it. So I have purchased this. I know that it's something I could probably have made, and you know, from a bit of broom handle, frankly, but that's pretty and it wasn't expensive, and I was ordering the load of thread that I ordered and the books, so for the additional price of chucking it in for the already paid postage, it really was worth doing. So yes, bag of pretty colours. So I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow now, because we won't have decided by tomorrow, I don't think. I'm going to give it a few days for people to decide, because I've already got my strip set up in lace 8. I just need to put motifs on it, really, because we know they're the right size, and I measured them. They definitely come out as 97 centimetres. It's all good. So I have been planning and thinking and doing all the good things. I just can't decide by myself because I'm useless. So I thank you for your assistance. I will look forward to seeing you all again soon. And tomorrow evening, so that's in around 24, 5, 6, 7, 8, 29-ish hours, 28, 29 hours, we will be back. And we will be back, hopefully, to make some lace. Now, maybe we need to make something in the meantime. Maybe we will do kind of one of the pictures from my book. Or such. So, I don't know. We shall see how it goes. Part of me wants to try drawing something of my own and in that style and doing that. But we shall be back. We shall try. Probably not on this pillow because, you know. But we shall be back tomorrow with something. As I say, don't entirely know what. We will find out when we get here tomorrow. Thank you for your company, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.